Here with reaction, outnumbered co-host Kayleigh McEnany, along with Fox News contributor Douglas Murray. Kayleigh, start with you. Why is there this imperative of the left we're talking about kids from kindergarten, first, second, and third grade, to talk about transgenderism and sexuality at all, especially because we spend more money per student with the worst results in reading, writing, math, science, and computers? Why don't we focus on the basics?
Exactly, Sean. The left has a sick obsession with their children. Just today, think about the last 24 hours for the White House. They want to force face cloth coverings on 2-year-olds on airplanes and teach them about sexuality and gender ideology at kindergarten. I mean, when my daughter goes to school, I don't want her learning about those things, coming home and being taught things that I then have to explain to her. And of all the issues to cry and get upset about, Sean, there's a war in Ukraine. There is bloodshed in our streets, children literally dying on the streets from crime that is totally out of control and rampant. There is COVID, where more Americans have died on Joe Biden's watch than on President Trump's. There is a lot to cry about. Namely, if you want to cry about one issue in this country right now, I think the press secretary should cry about the 62 million children that do not exist, that have been aborted because of Roe v. Wade, a heinous, heinous decision in this country that has exterminated about 1/5 of the United States population. So if you want to cry, don't cry about forcing sexuality on kindergartners. That is sick. Cry about the 62 million children who can't even go to kindergarten.
You know, as I look at this bill, you know, the state of Florida reacted, and, you know, it's troubling that the Biden administration would break down in tears because of a law that protects parental rights. Now, Douglas, it may shock some people in school systems, but there are many parents out there that have values that are very different than the school and very different than what a teacher might be teaching their kids. Who has the right to instill values? Are we going to hand our kids over to the schools? They get to instill the values, or do parents get to instill the values? I vote for the parents.
Absolutely, every time. You know, Jen Psaki, I think, is just making sure that her sinecure at MSNBC is absolutely safe. This sort of mixture of sentimentality and fake emotion is something that we've seen for years from Rachel Maddow and others, breaking down in tears at ridiculous and insignificant things. And this is ridiculous and insignificant. It's ridiculous because she's crying about, as you've just pointed out, Sean, something that isn't happening. The ridiculous thing, on top of all of that, is that, as we all know here, the whole bill in Florida has nothing to do with persecuting gay people or anything like it. It's about trying to stop not just the imposition of teaching about sex to kindergarteners, but stopping the teaching of an ideology that was literally invented about 18 months ago. I mean, you know, 2 years ago, nobody had heard about any of the gender fluid nonsense. Nobody talked about non-binaryism. Everybody knew until yesterday that there were two sexes and that some people were attracted to their own sex. Now we've got this new ideology which Disney and others have decided to force on the American people, or decide is an amazing and ancient right to understand that there are about 100 genders. Actually, it's so important to understand that they don't know how many genders there are yet, because they're making it up as they go along. It's incredibly dangerous what these people are doing.
My favorite was the first graders being taught. Now, when doctors deliver babies, they're really just guessing if it's a boy or a girl. They're telling first graders that. They're just, it's an educated guess. It's not a guess. No. Anyway, and nobody supports discrimination. Most Americans are libertarian. Live your own life, but leave the kids alone. Let the parents deal with these issues. And if they want to have after-school opt-in programs, they can do that. All right, Kayleigh, thank you. Douglas, thank you. Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.